This is the second page of your color pencil technique worksheet. We're going to start with a little bit of color theory. You're going to be filling in this color wheel. In a moment, I will be putting numbers next to each one of the sections on the color wheel. I think this one is 325 off the top of my head. You're going to just fill it in, creating a middle tone, a medium tone, and fill it in based on the color that it is. So 325 is red. This will just be a color wheel that we'll continue to use and reference just so that we can see which colors are next to one another and which colors are across from one another, which will be a big part of this video in a few minutes. So you're going to go along and you're going to have to layer a few colors at some points at time. Like if I don't have a yellow orange, we're going to have to do light layers of both colors, and those numbers will be provided for you. So just fill out this color wheel in accordance to the numbers that are written on the screen. Our next step is going to be creating tints and creating a shade of a color. So we've created a tint before. It is when you combine a color and white. We're going to do this just as we did our transitions on the previous video. On the left-hand side, I am using heavy pressure and creating a gradient with any color. I'm filling the entire rectangle. Left-hand side is very dark pressure, middle tone, and then light tone. The entire rectangle is going to be filled. Our next step in this process is going to be using a technique called varnishing. Varnishing is where we use heavy pressure and a singular colored pencil to combine the colors and just create a solid presence. This will also help us fill those little spaces that are left on the paper from just using colored pencil. In this case, we're using white, but you can use any color. I'm using heavy pressure on almost the entire rectangle with this white pencil. That's because you can't create value with white. White is white. We are going heavy pressure, and you can see that the colored pencil from the purple is nice and blended together, and it appears a little bit lighter. So a tint is just something that is lighter when you add white. Next, we're going to be creating a shade. This is just one of many ways to create a shade. I'm using red in this case, and we're going to be combining it with black. We're also going to be learning how to create a shade in this next section below. Just like before, I'm creating a value scale. Left-hand side is going to be very heavy pressure, fade to a middle pressure, and then to light pressure, And then I'm going to be using a black pencil to do the opposite, just like we did with our transitions before. So our black pencil is going to be dark on the right hand side and fade to light. And then of course, don't forget to layer the two. Our next section is going to be how to create brown or a darker shade using complements. So complementary colors are any colors that are across from one another on the color wheel. We're going to be seeing that green and red is a complementary color. They are across from one another on the color wheel. When they are combined, they create a brown tone. One way to remember this is Christmas. The main Christmas colors are green and red. Christmas, complements, same thing. The next one that we can combine to create brown is purple and yellow. One way that I like to remember this complement is the Lakers. The Lakers colors are purple and yellow. I'm not into sports and even I know that one. Our last one is the Bears, which is blue and orange combined. We can combine these to create a darker shade, which is what we're going to be doing here. So we're going to start with the complement of blue. The complement of blue is the Bears, it is orange. So just like on our back page and just like we completed with creating a shade, we're going to have dark pressure on the left hand side, fade to a light pressure, fill in the entire rectangle, and then we're going to start on the right hand side with orange, fill in the rest of the rectangle with a gradient just like we did before, and then you're going to go back and layer. What you'll see in that middle section is you'll start to see it is a little bit darker and it is a brown tone. So when you're using complements to create a brown, this is mainly done in paint. When you combine the two paint colors, it creates a really beautiful brown with any of the combinations that we have on our page. When it is done with colored pencil, it's more used to create a shadow. So say we have an orange object, I know that if I want to add a shadow on there, I can go in with some blue to make that area a bit darker. It's not meant to be the brown that we know, but it is just a variation of creating a dark shadow. Once you're done combining the blue and orange together, you can do the same thing with the red and green. Green is the complement of red, and yellow and purple. Purple is a complement of yellow. But just keep in mind, we got the Bears, we have Christmas, and we have the Lakers. In our last section of this worksheet, is where we're going to be layering the complements. This is where we'll see what they look like when they are fully combined with a lot of layers on top of one another. We're starting with blue and orange, the Bears, but then the other complements are red and green, Christmas, and the Lakers, which are yellow and purple. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to do multiple light layers of the two complementary colors. I'm going in with a lighter shade. This is on the lighter end of the value scale, and I'm just going to continue to stack these values on top of one another. What will happen is they will merge together through that layering, and they will create a dark shade. You're going to do this with all of the complements, and then we'll be done with the worksheet.